Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly tarot card reading, and I'm using one of my favorite decks to read with, the Osho Zen Tarot. Okay, so I'm going to draw 3 cards, and each card is going to represent a portion of the upcoming week. So my intention here with this reading is really just to get kind of a general overview of the week ahead, and basically to understand how we can sort of take advantage of some of the energies moving into the next week. Okay, so the first card is going to represent Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week, and we have guidance. This is the 3 of Rainbows, and the interesting thing about the Osho Zen deck is that it corresponds to the Rider-Waite deck, but the cards have been given different names. So 3 of Rainbows is 3 of Pentacles in a Rider-Waite deck. So we've got the 3 of Rainbows, and this is really quite an interesting card, and I can't help but visualize the Rider-Waite version of this card, and then I kind of compare the two whenever I read with this deck. So in the Rider-Waite version, this is the 3 of Pentacles, and it's the guy he's working on building plans, and he's looking at plans, and he's like in a church, and he's talking to 2 people, and essentially this card is about going in the direction that you feel pulled. So you know how there'll be certain things that you'll feel called to do, or a particular direction that you want to go in. And you know that feeling you get when you're working on something like, for me, it's like when I'm doing art, if I'm drawing or something like that, you get into that space where like time just goes by really fast and you just kind of get into the zone. And that's something that happens when we're doing something that's really like a skill or a gift for us, and you're doing what you're meant to be doing. And when that happens, it's almost like time doesn't exist. And it doesn't matter if you're working hard or, you know, if you're putting a lot of time and energy into something, it doesn't always feel like that, because it's something that you are so good at, and just you feel right, like you just feel at home when you're doing that activity. So this card is about listening to that inner guidance and kind of following some of your yearnings and going in the directions that you feel pulled. And this is particularly important, I think, if you're facing any kind of dilemma about something. You know, really pay attention to what your inner being is asking you to do. You know, what direction feels good for you, what feels just right at home for you. And another aspect of this card is this can also be about like literally getting guidance from another dimension of reality. So that could be, you know, intuitive guidance. It could be like guidance from your spirit guides or angels, or I'm trying to think of any other kind of guidance. Well, some people think of like channeling, you know, you're channeling some other being, which I guess could be considered guidance from a spirit guide or angel or something like that. But this is about, you know, picking up on that guidance and taking action on it. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that. I think that what this means in the context of the week is make sure that you're open to guidance as you enter this week. So Monday and Tuesday are a really good time to get in touch with some of that inner guidance in order to make some good decisions this week. Okay, here we have maturity, which is the Ace of Rainbows, so Ace of Pentacles. And again, I feel like this card in some ways has a similar kind of meaning to the 3 of Pentacles. This is about finding your path in life, or that feeling you get when you feel like you're on the right path. You know, you're going in the right direction. And sometimes we get obsessed with finding the right path, or we're always like questioning, are we on the right path? And I think what I'm getting from this card is maturity comes when you realize that it's not so much the path that you're on, but how you're walking it. So don't get obsessed with, am I on the right path? Am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right things? It's more important to pay attention to how you're doing things. So how are you dealing with things? How are you going about your day-to-day activities? How are you making decisions? Are you, consulting some inner guidance? Are you, tapping into that intuition? Or are you asking other people for guidance all the time? Are you letting your mind dictate all of your decisions? How are you doing things? It's more about the quality of how you're living your life rather than necessarily like the direction or specifically what you're doing. The specifics aren't as important as we think. It's more the quality that we're bringing to our lives. And as I look at this card, another thing is popping into my mind, and that is, what lens are you looking at the world? Are you looking at the world through a, multicolored lens that, where things appear bright and, optimistic? Or are you looking at the world through more of a gray kind of dull lens? Because, and I'm just saying this because I'm looking at this circle that seems to be lit up, and this isn't necessarily a meaning to do with this card, but this is just what's kind of popping into my head right now. I feel like that's one thing we can do midweek, is to stop and ask that question of ourselves, like what lens am I looking at the world? Am I looking at the world expecting people to be helpful and friendly, or am I going out there expecting the worst, that, people are out to get me, and they're out to rip me off, and they're out to betray me? All of those things have such a profound effect on our experience. I feel like this card is very rich. I could go on and on with this card all day, but I'm going to move on to the next card, which is the card of the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And here we have a more powerful card. This is a major arcana card, and it's called Beyond Illusion. And this would be, I have a hard time with this one. I'm always forgetting what the correlation of this one is in the Rider-Waite deck. Beyond Illusion, I believe this one is, oh shoot, it's not the Hanged Man. It will come to me. Okay, I'm just gonna start talking. So what I'm getting with this card is there's a major feeling of transformation, and I'm saying that because I'm looking at this thing here, which makes me think of a cocoon and like a little egg, and then the butterfly wings. These are all symbols of transformation, and I feel like transformation is easier for us, so we can transform our quality of life. We can transform our, how we look at things, how we experience things, when we go beyond illusion. And this kind of actually relates to all the stuff I was nattering on about with this card, and the lens that you look at the world through. Quite often, the lens that we look at the world through is simply an illusion. And once we get beyond that illusion, things transform, and things can be totally different and take on a totally different, more powerful quality. And we're able to be more open and compassionate and loving and more connected to the world around us. So I feel like this weekend I feel like there's almost like a portal opening where a lot of us are going to be able to have some profound spiritual experiences, and we'll have that opportunity to make some real shifts in our life, and more than anything, some shifts in how we see things. We'll be able to kind of see beyond the illusion and see things, very, very, very differently. I think this one is Judgment, actually, in the Rider-Waite deck, but I could be wrong on that. Okay, so I want to take a quick step back. What I'm noticing is the colors that are jumping out. And I mean, this is such a colorful deck anyway, but it looks like a very colorful, multi-dimensional week. So it's going to be exciting. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this reading helpful. I hope you've taken a little something from it. And have a wonderful, wonderful week. You can find out more about me on my website, dailytarotgirl.com.